Hey people, Idrit here, 1v1 Greentooth Gorge, blue side. VagrantTable as a Tau Ethereal, a support hero fighting in melee, buffs his army with powerful auras. On the red side, Wonderbread's Lord Commissar, strong offense and support fighting in melee, begins with a shield, can shoot his own fellows in the head to encourage them. This is the Deathcore of Krieg DLC. So the Ethereal, what's he up to? He's got a passive aura granting 10% max hit points and 5% damage resistance around him. His range 30, so it's quite nice. He also has this unifying mantra active, which buffs up that aura, granting 10% extra to each of those, so we get 20% health and 15% damage resist. But it does drain his energy while it's active, slows him down, and means he does less damage while it's active too. As for base stats, 550 hit points is very low. He's got around 28 DPS melee, which is very slightly more than like an apothecary, but the apothecary of course has more hit points and, you know, can heal himself. But this guy's got these things called invocations in his accessory slot, and he can get multiple of them at the same time, and they're quite cheap. You can get them all in tier 1, they're 20 power each and 100 rec, I think. They all grant extra bonuses to his aura, and they give him an active ability too, like kind of a cheap active ability also. So he's got tons of support he can do. I think this guy would do really well supported and surrounded by some Kroot carnivores, because you can get a lot of ways to buff those guys. You can get this thing called the Honor Blade in tier 1. It's a power weapon that grants health regen and damage buff on hit, kind of like a War Boss Bang Bang Hammer that also heals you slightly. I'm not sure if it stacks up though. The tooltip doesn't clarify whether or not it stacks on each hit. Maybe it doesn't. We see Pathfinders and Fire Warriors here being tied up in melee by some brave guardsmen. Triple guardsmen here for Wonderbread into Vespid Stingwings for VagrantTable. So he is going to have a melee squad, but it's not going to be the Kroot carnivores, at least not yet. In tier 2, of course, they can get that Strain Leader and get that suppression on landing to shut down all these guardsmen. Ethereal just trying to stay out of trouble and cap at the moment. Gonna take some lasgun fire here. The Commissar will also mess him up in melee, especially with shield up. Cool animations on this guy, I think. He's going for the VP. Is he? No, he's spotted the Lord Commissar now. Wants to lead him on a merry chase. Might be able to get some auto pistol shots in though. It's not quite in range to start taking fire. Taking shots, I should say. Here's the Vespid Stingwings. Have these kind of air ranged weapons. They're not terrible, but once they get into melee, they can shred stuff. They've got 25 DPS per model. You get 4 of them. That's like Assault Marine DPS, but of course they don't have heavy infantry armor. They don't have the hit points of Assault Marines. But quite effective, I think, from what I've seen of them. Ethereal runs away. Lord Commissar hasn't taken a point of damage yet, I don't think. Vespid Stingwings jumping across. They can decap that VP maybe. Those guardsmen had to run for their lives. These guys are going to try and deal with them. Catachan Devils are up. They'll be useful against the Vespids. Can shotgun blast them to suppress. Can even go into melee and deal with them maybe. They do have 2 more models, so I assume they do reasonably well in melee against the Stingwings. I'm not actually sure what the DPS number on the Catachans is. Something I've forgotten over time. Need to look that up again. You have Pathfinders getting their squad leader in there. He improves their photon grenade, which is something they start with to slow down enemies. Can use it to slow down the Lord Commissar maybe. Grabbing back the Western VP for a 2-to-1 cap, of Vespids are on the mid. Really wanted to see Kroot carnivores alongside this guy. But I don't expect he's going to get Vespid Stingwings and Kroot carnivores, but you never know. Some grenade barrage knocking back the Pathfinders there, so we're not going to see any marker lights in this fight. Catachans drop their smoke for some damage resistance. The Vespids are just leaving, are they? Oh, we go. You just saw them enter the aura of the Ethereal, getting that yellow buff circle there.
No place is barred to us.
He's going to be used to cap, and it's a heavy gun drone squadron coming in. It's a setup team basically. Not sure how their DPS and fire patterns compare to heavy bolter and that kind of thing, but they pretty much do the same job. Can get a pretty powerful anti-vehicle weapon in tier 2 as well. Lord Commissar coming back out of base, 464 to 470. No, he's not. He's up the other side of the map. Could try and decap that wreck point before it fully matures. Catachans are going to be vital here. Haven't really tangled with the Vespids yet, but they're shutting down the Pathfinders and scaring off the Fire Warriors quite effectively at the moment. 453 to 470. Pathfinders can get lots of nice upgrades. They can pick from 3 different drones in Tier 2. The Fire Warriors can also get a drone in Tier 2 that's defensive. And the Ethereal actually has a global where you can just spawn a drone on an allied squad to give them 15% damage resist as long as it lives, which is quite fun. I assume it means you can double up on the drones for the guys that can get them. Here's the Vespers. Look at the work they're doing. Scared off by the Catachans though. Didn't drop a model. And they killed a fair few things there. They got half an XP bar. There's Tier 2 for Wonderbread. Here's the heavy gun drone squadron. So that the fellow with the guns at the front there can be replaced with a missile drone. Knocked back by the Catachans. Doing huge amounts of work, these guys. Now they're forcing melee. Not sure how that works against the drones. Do they still fire? They don't have a melee attack, I don't think. Maybe they do. They don't even have like thrusters. Just floating around. Tau hacks. Almost Tier 2 for Wonderbread. I don't know if anything's been queued up here. Hasn't felt the need to get anything on the Lord Commissar yet. There's that photon grenade. As I said in a previous cast, it doesn't give you any kind of visual feedback that it's active, which I think it should get. Ethereal runs away. Hasn't been able to level up yet. It's a Chimera on the way, so we may see the missile pod on those guys. They've got some other anti-vehicle options in Tier 2 though. 396 to 470 on the VPs. Node being taken out. Likewise over here. Vespids are crunching on it. They can attack you with their feet and sometimes just smack you with their gun. Should give them a decent chunk of XP if they can finish it. Catachans might come and grenade barrage them away, although they may not have the energy to do so right now. Took it down. Got some red, got some XP. And VagrantTable is going to need some kind of anti-vehicle. Trying to get some shots on the Commissar who backs off. It's stealth battle suits on the way. They can get anti-vehicle weapons. By default, they have these 20 DPS burst cannons, which is pretty nice. Gives you 60 odd DPS on those 3 models, and they can leap. They can also put down marker lights. Don't think I've spotted the marker lights being used by the Pathfinders yet. It does remove their DPS and you replace it with the marker lights. And it seems to be the way to go. Can be a really powerful force multiplier later on when you have big shooty armies. Lord Commissar gets suppressed, but other things delivered into the back lines. No Catachans were there though. Catachans were busy capping. I wonder if they could have just repositioned there. Maybe he assumed Catachans were inside. Here's the stealth battle suits. They can of course also infiltrate around and stuff. They can also get a squad leader that gives them more energy and more energy regen. I think it's called Chassevry or something. Chassevry. They have weird names, the Tau leaders, don't they? So positioning of your Ethereal is really important. You want to give your aura to as much stuff as you can. Looks like we have Mantle of Unity in. More health regen. Makes his passive aura grant 10% extra to both of those things. Oh, and extra damage dealt. So that'll be 15% damage resist, 10% health, and 10% extra damage just on his passive aura. Chimera taken down there, as you can see. And it makes his Unifying Mantra even better. Damage resistance by another 15% instead of 10. Huge amount of buffs. But it does increase the energy cost of the Unifying Mantra. I'm not sure how long you can channel it for. Total damage resist 25%. And hit points by 30%. And damage by the 10%. He can be what is already a buff machine, this guy. We do have the missile launcher, of course, the missile drone that took out the Chimera. Wonderbread says, screw this, I'm going tier 3. I was thinking maybe a couple of stormtroopers with the assault kits would do some good work here. Especially if the Commissar can shoot one in the head to buff their damage. The Catachans can disrupt and he may win the firefight that way. Vespids jumping in. They're going to suppress with the Strain Leader there. That was a really good suppression. But now, of course, this missile drone is far less useful. You can't switch back to the regular burst cannon gun things. Almost leveled up the Ethereal. Tier 3s are coming. Kasrkin with grenade launchers could do a hell of a lot of work for you here as well. There's those stealth battle suits with those 20 DPS burst cannons. Didn't need to get their fusion rifles in the end. I was going to say, you want to get into cover though. Not really utilizing cover here very much. The Fire Warriors have been given their pulse rifles, which are Inferno PvP DPS. Don't think it's maybe required against all this light infantry here, but they also have their drone. As you may have spotted, that's their Guardian drone they're called. Lowers the damage they take by 20%, but you can perhaps target that drone and take it out. 341 to 433 on the VPs. It is Kasrkin for Wonderbread. There's that suppressing jump, and they're going to wipe out those guardsmen. Okay. Those guys are gone. Commissar goes straight after those stealth battle suits. Trying to get models off them because they will, of course, cost power to reinforce those guys. But these Fire Warriors, they could maybe focus down the Lord Commissar himself pretty well with these pulse rifles. Looks like they're trying to shoot at the Catachans. It also gives them really good range. Range 44 is insane. Really, really good. Imagine if they had like a Farseer ally alongside them to give them guide as well. Yeah, they're shooting down that Commissar really effectively. He's still level 1 to be fair. He's got Aura of Discipline up. There's that Vespid jump. Wonderbread hasn't really done a great job keeping his stuff separated for those jumps. I mean, it's not easy to do. Fire Warriors level to 2 now. Those Catachans are going to wipe. They wiped. I think he meant to retreat them or thought he retreated them, but he did not. Ethereal levels up, and now he's got equalizers. I'm not sure what to do. It says a pair of equalizers, which suggests he's going to get this like dual-wielded weapon, but he does not. They're power melee, and it gives him equalize, which slows down an enemy squad and reduces the damage they deal. Basically a big debuff. Maybe that's just not been implemented yet. These equalizer weapons. 323 to 428 on the VPs. Got some really cool animations on that Ethereal though, really liking it. The Tau in general, really impressed with their implementation so far. Wonder if we'll see any of their tier 3 stuff here. Their Krutox rider guys are really fun. They're these like heavy melee fellas. Uh-oh, Kasrkin chucked a grenade in there. They've not given themselves a weapon upgrade yet. They can switch between all of their weapon upgrades freely. Just needs to take a bit of time. Lord Commissar's taken out. Ethereal getting stuck in maybe here. Being focused down a bit. Some Flamer Guardsmen, eh? Might be a shrewd choice if you can get in the face of the Fire Warriors while they sit in cover and destroy them with some fire. That might be effective. Looks like Loyal to the End is active here. Increasing damage as units die, as models die. They sort of stealth battle suits jumping away, and now the Vespids jumping in, getting a good jump on these guys with suppression. These guys reposition, can plant their feet again. Would it be worth getting the Ogrins up, because these Vespids are doing huge amounts of work now. Fire Warriors are still here, and they can get an upgrade. They probably have it actually. I think it's maybe the leader that gives it to them, where you can activate it. They do more damage, ignore cover, but they fire slower. But if you're in a cover-to-cover firefight, it's insanely good. Oh, look at that. We just saw another drone that must have been called in by the Ethereal, because they usually can't get an extra drone. Now the stealth battle suits have a drone. Kasrkin running into melee. Forces them off. They can fast cap. What's this fella doing here all alone? It's all separated. Commissar down is a big loss. Hasn't leveled, but he does a lot for tying things up, especially against the Vespids. He may have a bunch of invocations, I just don't know it. So I don't think it's going to show up in the accessory slot there. He'd most likely get the Invocation of Fire with this army, because you can use it. It adds range damage to his aura, and you can use, I think it's Hail of Fire or Storm of Fire or something like that, to increase damage with a single squad. Just standing in some light cover there, taking a bunch of shots. Vespids doing their thing. Almost 1,700 hit points on these guys with their strain leader at level 2. Commissar's going to go down, and it was only just repurchased. Yeah, I think he needed some Ogrins, because they could... Well, these guys do have Inferno PvP damage. Maybe that dissuaded Wonderbread from getting Ogrins up. I was going to say they could shrug off a bunch of piercing damage, but it's not all piercing damage, is it? Kasrkin inside the garrison getting roasted. The Vespids have this thing where they can, like, mess up garrison units, I think. They, like, vibrate their chitinous hides or something. It's like unnerving sound waves, and it messes you up in the garrison. Wonderbread's down to just 2 units. Catechins may wipe as well. Catechins do wipe, and that's probably GG. I think Ogrins would have done really well. Just soaked up a huge amount of damage, would have messed up the Vespids, disrupted them. I think the triple guardsmen, they're just always going to get outshot, aren't they? Against the Tau. We need to go more like what the Catechins did really well, especially early on, into heavy weapon squad maybe, or artillery spotters. Maybe you should have gone a slightly heavier tier 1. These heavy gun drones could maybe bash power with their fancy missile. These guys are bashing power. Look at that squad leader's got a fancy gun. And yeah, those Pathfinders can get anti-everything weapons in tier 3. They do need to set them up, but they're super long range, and they have this new damage type called Melter Light, I think it's called, something like that. It's the exact same as Melter, but it does less damage to vehicles than Melter does. It does half damage rather than 75% damage that normal Melter does. On the way, the big old Riptide suit we're going to see. This thing is super fun. Got a big old plasma cannon on it. Some nasty abilities, but it's got this unique thing where if it uses 2 abilities, I think it's within 20 seconds, it overheats and it like messes up its own movement speed and damages itself if it overheats. So you need to be careful not to spam those abilities too much. And it's got, yeah, it can't retreat. Super heavy infantry, but it's only 1750 hit points, so you might need to look after this stuff. I mean, against what Wonderbread has, it should do fine. We have Ogrins. It can leap, this guy, and it's got like a big overcharged shot it can do. But for example, if you want to leap somewhere and then do the overcharged shot immediately, you're going to overheat yourself. And the Ogrins should smack it around quite a lot. There we go. Just leapt in. Triple cap here for VagrantTable. Should have the game sealed, but I want to see this Riptide do some stuff. Oh, there's the Stealth Battlesuit squad leader. Look at him. Unique model. That looks awesome. Yeah, I think it's called a Chassevray. Someone can correct me in the comments, maybe. Into base turret. Heavy weapon squad needs to leave, I think. Oh, it missed. The Riptide missed. That one didn't miss. Chimera on the way for Wonderbread. Ogrins, meanwhile, have found the gun drones. Take one of them out. Might have to get on that VP to give Wonderbread a chance. He's not giving up, though. Oh, here's the big overcharge. Look at that. They survived it. They bloody survived it. Okay, now they're down. Needed to move them around in base, I think. Chimera is up. Not sure what the plan is with the Chimera, as I said. Maybe just to support those Ogrins. But this guy will mess it up with his big old plasma gun thing. Guess it's like a giant fusion rifle, maybe. Level 3 Ethereal. Again, may have a bunch of invocations active. Looks like he's going for Utilitarian Annihilation. That gives him this bombardment thing he can do. I think it's a bit like the Commissar's off-map artillery, but I haven't actually seen it in action. Wow, Vespids ripping up those Ogrins. Good grief. Level 4 Vespids. are not messing around. There's a rocket run. Didn't really hit anything, unfortunately for Wonderbread. Heavy weapon squad on the way. Ethereal capping mid. 300 to 95 now. Oh, stealth battle suits now have their fusion blasters. Look at the damage. Good grief. 20 DPS each. And yes, the squad leader also gets one. That is pretty nuts. 20 melted DPS each. Kind of like fire dragons that can leap, I guess, and infiltrate. Kind of scary. Kind of scary. Lord Commissar now has a Xenos Power Claw. And that is the Ion Beam, I think. Yeah, this is the nuke of the Tau. No, it's not. That was the, that was this thing. That was the bombardment. It looked like the Ion Beam. Bespid's going into base. Where's that Riptide? I want to see more Riptide stuff. I want to see it overheat. Down goes the Commissar. The game is over with a triple cap. But it was fun to see a bunch of Tau stuff in action. Especially the Ethereal. Level 4 he got. Really interesting hero. Quite weak in combat, but huge amounts of support potential. There's the Riptide jumping. Look at that at the end. Yeah, he got level 4, this fella. Commissar down and level 2. And there you have it, guys. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one, showcasing a bit more Tau stuff. And I'll see ya next time.